Hello and welcome back to another macro day. And with that we have another macro for you, of course, and it's sc_call_API. Of course, the macro you need to use the inbuilt API functionality that is available within Scriptcase. Okay, so for this macro, of course, I have a control application open. I could also maybe have really a blank application open. It doesn't really matter in this case. In fact, why not? I will open a blank application. Okay, and with the blank application, we can use this macro. And of course, with all macros, what do? We check out the Scriptcase documentation, of course, to, check out the macro. And here it is the SC_call API. We have the profile and array settings. Now, the settings that we have available here, these are taken from within Scriptcase. So that is very important to note, because up here, we are able to configure because up here in Tools and API, we are able to add API configurations into our Scriptcase development environment, which are then of course secured and put away somewhere so that you don't have to worry about having your data there. And with these then configured, you are then able to use them within your applications. And as it is pointed out on the website, we can do that via the very basic example of the Mandrill API. Now in this case, we are applying here the gateway settings and the API key and everything that we have available within our settings, and that is all applied here for our SC_call API. In some cases, we need some pre-configuration, and in some cases, we don't. It really depends on the API that you are going to use. So for instance, if we take a look at the sending for Mandrill, then here it is of course a little different. So with the slight difference of configuring our email, because that's what we're doing here, we still have the same exact configuration as we just had a few moments ago. But first of all, we are configuring here our header of our email, so from who the email is coming from, preparing that content. Then we are loading up our API here, and then we are constructing our email, synchronizing and sending. And just like that, we have used the SC_call API functionality within Scriptcase. So it may not be the best example, but of course there are quite a few others. And I do think really the best one is, and the simplest, is really the PayPal API. So in this case, we have our array of settings, which are here, and we are defining them, and then we are using here the SC_call API macro. So let's go over some of these settings a bit more, because maybe it may not be entirely so clear. Because for our macro that we have here, let's just copy here our SC_call API. Okay, and here we then have our default setup for our API setup. So we have here our profile, and our profile is a required parameter that specifies the name of the gateway that it's configured in. So in this case, in this PayPal case, this is not configured anywhere. We are applying our settings for any other API call. So we just need to define our array, and then we can use SC_call API, and off you go. Like magic, your APIs will work. At the same time, you can also use the APIs that are available in here by defining their name directly within this space here. So the profile would, for instance, become here Dropbox Eagles Amazon, whatever we have available here in here, and then those settings will of course be applied automatically from our profile. And then our array settings, which of course is our profile, right, which is an optional parameter. So this is not required, it is optional, okay, and it should provide an array that contains the gateway name as well as the API key. So if the profile parameter is empty, this one here, then we need to apply here our own API settings within an array. And if we have the profile, then we don't need here the array settings. And with that, we use then the APIs that are available in Scriptcase. So even though the documentation may not be 100% clear, it is very clear here that the profile is for the settings of the API in here. So here, for instance, let's just comment this out, shall I? And then here, let's go sc_call_API. And then here we would then have the Amazon, for instance. That would be our Amazon profile that we have enabled within the APIs. Okay, that is important to note. It needs to be enabled. And then here I would have, well, there'll be nothing, right? There's no settings anymore because our settings would essentially be provided via our API configuration that we have here. And when I say it's important that they are enabled, so now here I have the Amazon API functionality, I would need to enable that so that this tick becomes a little more highlighted. And yeah, let's zoom in so we kind of see that. And then with that then, with the highlight, we know that API will now be available within this project for this application. And now, just like that, as I had it, I can then call it either within the blank application or within the control or any other application that I want. And just like that, we have some awesome, super speedy API functionality available within Scriptcase. Now, in other cases, there are other options as well, which is also worth checking out, but we'll check those in another macro video. So for the SC-Call API, you can use this on charts, on calendars, on grids, search form, control form, menu, yeah, all of them, all of the applications, okay? And on the events, well, we have on execute, on after delete, on after insert, update, delete, before, all of those as well. On script init, on load, on refresh, on validate success as well as failure. So pretty much all of the events where you would want to be able to use this SC-Call API, and of course I see there APT, it's API, SC-Call_API macro is super powerful and available to us within the Scriptcase environment. And of course, it simplifies the process of integrating all of these third-party services into our Scriptcase projects. And with that, we have extra superpowers to extend the functionality, of course, of our applications with all of those external APIs that are available today for email sending, SMS notifications maybe, payment processing, and just about anything else that you can think of today, all within Scriptcase, which is why Scriptcase is so awesome, because you can integrate it with just about anything. Okay, so that is it for the SC-Call API macro. I hope you have learned something for this macro and of course apply it within your own projects. So thank you very much for watching, and until the next macro day.